Welcome back, philosophers. So these two readings here are going to be a direct pair of readings because William Clifford, who offers the ethics of belief, and William James writes the will to believe in response to Clifford's paper. So they're going to directly respond to each other on the question of whether it's moral to have certain beliefs without evidence for them. So William Clifford offers the first pair we're going to look at was born in 1845, died fairly young in 1879, and he's better known as a mathematician. So he actually developed an important form of algebra and was sort of a forward-thinking thinker when it came to understanding gravity. That he was actually the first thinker to put forward the idea that there was an underlying geometry to the universe that explained gravitation, which Einstein ended up showing in his theory of relativity. Clifford was the first one to put forward this idea that gravity is explained by sort of curves and space-time. So he's sort of a really influential and important thinker. And in the paper we're going to read from him, called The Ethics of Belief, what he's going to try to do is establish a universal rule for when it's moral to form beliefs. And he's going to say, sort of at all times, all places, if you don't have evidence, it's wrong to form the belief. Now, William James writes in response to him. So James was born in 1842, but lived till the year 1910. James, so along with Clifford, is sort of better well known for writing outside of philosophy. So he's considered the father of American psychology, probably one of the most influential American philosophers. As a major proponent of a view called pragmatism, which we might talk about a little bit over these few weeks, but is a very important idea. Now, this paper that we're reading was originally given by James as a lecture, which is why it has a bit more of a sort of casual tone to it. But The Will to Believe was offered as a lecture, is later published in written form, and James looks to find sort of important exceptions to Clifford's universal principle. So James thinks that sort of Clifford might have things right in general, but that sort of there are important moments where it actually is moral, maybe not just permissible, but obligatory for you to form a belief before you even have the evidence. And James is going to explain what those cases are. So what to look for when you're reading through these? So first, look at the important harms that Clifford thinks come about from believing without evidence, why he thinks sort of having the belief is the wrong thing. Second, look at the harms that James thinks comes from waiting to believe until you have the evidence, that there are certain harms that come from waiting in that case. And then third, look at how James understands our duties as epistemic agents as opposed to Clifford, that he thinks sort of our understanding of how we are as thinkers, as people who have beliefs, he thinks that impinges certain duties upon us. He thinks is different from what Clifford thinks. So examine those, get your questions in, and we'll start looking at the question of when it's moral to form certain beliefs without evidence.